All right, so welcome everyone once again. My name is Dr. Harry Benjamin. Very grateful and thankful for the privilege of being a part of this conversation with friends and individuals who are seeking to have what's called a more expanded awareness. And, to really just get to know our true self. We say true and false self, but even the word false self, I was thinking about it this morning, Augustine and everyone else, even the word false self is almost unnecessary. Because there's nothing real that is there's nothing real except what is real. So I muted everyone, so you could unmute if needed. So even the word false self is not even sensible because it doesn't exist. The only thing that really exists is the self. So we're here to talk about that, and the purpose of the conversation is to help us to eliminate those areas that are blocking us, so that we can tap into our gifts, our talents, our capacities. We can be feeling more peaceful in a world that's filled with a lot of change and dynamics, so that we could feel our joy while all of these changes are happening in our life circumstances that we may like some or we may dislike some. And also to have the strength and the capacity to do the things that we feel gifted to do and the things that we feel called to do. So this conversation is to help us. Last week we had a really powerful conversation. And it was bringing up the word enlightenment, and there was a really nice tumble of conversation that took place around the topic last week, and we're here today to extend that discussion and to go a little bit deeper into it. And so coming off of last week, Augustine, and what thoughts are bubbling up in your awareness right now that you want to share in reference to the idea of enlightenment and what that means, and how people can benefit from that? Your line is muted, yeah.
Yeah.
I can hear you now.
Good afternoon again. It's afternoon here in Lagos, Nigeria. So good afternoon, everyone. For those that are outside in the United States, Canada, and in other places, good morning. For those in Asia, good evening. Basically, last week was a very, very interesting one. We had people coming from different perspectives, but saying the same thing basically, because everyone agreed with one thing last week. We agreed that enlightenment, I mean, going deep into enlightenment means, really getting to know that source that you call your life, that source that gives us life, that gives us animation. And that's basically what true enlightenment really entails. You going beyond, I don't want to use the false self from what you've just said, but going beyond the self that you have come to accept in this world, to really understanding the self that came into this world to accept all those concepts. The self with the power to live, with the power to be alive, with the power to breathe and grow. That self that is beyond whatever concept or ideology you can pin on it. The self that is beyond all the concepts, all the facade, all the images that we have come to build for it. Enlightenment is really getting to know that self at its deepest core, or at your deepest core, and now begin to align yourself with that self. It's going to be, it's a journey. The enlightenment journey, it's not physically, it's not one that is so easy. It's being that we have acquired a lot of habits. So even when you get to a point where you realize that, these habits are not me, it still takes you a lot of journey, or you still go on a journey to separate yourself from that habit, and which is quite difficult for many people. I've been on this journey for a while, and sometimes, I find myself going back to who I thought I am or I was. It's difficult many times to integrate yourself fully into that space. But that's also part of the journey, understanding who you are and understanding what you have learned, understanding your habits, understanding that you are not these habits, and growing in that space where you begin to divorce yourself from those habits and take charge of everything that you are. So basically, in this, the enlightenment journey is a lifelong journey. I don't really think one can actually get up and say, I have attained it all. It's not something that you fully attain. Mostly while in this flesh, it's not something that you would ever fully attain per se, because this flesh limits us in so many ways. So it's a journey that we keep growing into and becoming more of what we already are.
Yeah, thank you for that. So, just to throw something in there in reference to being and becoming. Because what happens is that we believe the ego and that part of ourselves that attaches to stuff, attaches to our body, attaches to the thoughts in the mind, attaches to the relationships that we have biologically, and establish that as our core family, which has its value. Or attaches ourselves to the things that we come along with along the way in the journey, whether it's a car or a house or a business that we temporarily have custodian over, we call it our own. In the process of dealing with those experiences, there's being and then there's becoming. Now, what happens to us is that because we are always revealing more of our true nature, what tends to happen is that we literally feel like we're becoming more. Because as you are developing as an individual, you are realizing that you're becoming more conscious, you're becoming more aware, you're becoming stronger, you're becoming more peaceful, you're becoming more joyful. And it literally feels like you're becoming more. But the interesting thing about that is that we're told that who by taking thought can add 1 cubit to his or her stature, which means that none of us can add anything to ourselves. We're also told that, you're perfect already. Some of us may have learned this, that we are already perfect. There's nothing that we need to add to ourselves. We're already perfect, created from perfection, perfectly created, but we see ourselves imperfectly. So the issue is that we are already okay, because one of the biggest challenges that we fall into in how we live our lives is to believe that something is missing, something is wrong, there's something to be attained. Anything that's to be attained or obtained is really the ego trying to grab onto something. Is the ego trying to reach to us a level to believe that once I get to this level, then I'm okay. When I get to this level, I'm okay. Or then to put it out into the infinite future that I'll never be okay, I'll always continue to evolve and become more. The thing is that we are already whole, we are already perfect, we're already total and complete. But what happens is that we unfold. So if you could see yourself as infinite from within, and then we're unfolding to reveal different phases and stages of our lives, that process of unfolding is what we're observing. But we get caught up in the changings and the dynamics of what is coming out, as opposed to understanding that we're the ones observing what is coming out, and it's coming out from us. It's coming out from ourselves. The statement came to me that if you could find that part of yourself that doesn't change, you'll be okay. If you could find that part of yourself that never changes, because there's a dimension of ourselves that is changeless, it's deathless, it's birthless. There's nothing that you could add to it. It doesn't need anything. But describing it is not going to let you find it. Right? We each have to find that dimension of ourselves. Now, once we find that dimension, timeless being that we are, the expansive being that we are, the content of what's happening inside. The question I want to ask, and the question came to me, and I want people on here to answer this. And just answer, don't hold back, right? There's no right or wrong answer. But the question, and please unmute or put your answer in the chat. Are you inside of your body, or is your body inside of you? And be sincere about your answer. Do not just throw an answer just to, just be sincere. Don't throw an answer, okay, you think this is right and this is the wrong one. Right? How do you feel? right? Because we're going to have a discussion about 5Ws today. How do you feel? Do you feel like you're, thank you, Scholar. Go ahead. Do you feel like you're inside your body or your body's inside of you?
I'm inside my body.
Thank you for your answer, Scholar. Anyone else wants to jump in there? Anyone? You're muted. You're muted, Augustine.
I'm going to use a popular saying by Jesus Christ from the Bible. You know, he says, "I am in the Father, and the Father is in me." You know, and that's the way I feel when I look at myself. I am in the body, and the body is in me. I am a mixture of. I don't. Is that the right word? Mixture. I am all that it is. So I'm in the body and the body is in me. I am the body, but I am more than the body also. That's how I feel.
Okay, all right, thank you for that. Anyone else wants to give us, Scholar gave us how she felt about that.
Towards Mr. Augustine's stance, because if I say I'm inside my body, it's sounding a bit like I'm caged inside a body, like I'm caged in it without having something of my own to be able to like say, okay, this is me separate from the body. So I would say it's a mixture. So I think I'll be more inclined towards what Mr. Austin said.
All right, thank you, Rosemary. Anyone else who wants to jump in? You could reframe. You could put context to your answer. But just tell me, how do you feel? Do you feel that you're inside of your body, or do you feel that your body's inside of you? Anyone else? Go ahead, Robert.
I feel like my body is inside of me. And I believe, looking at it that way, I believe that I have control
of the body. Okay, all right. Thank you for that, Robert. Who else do we have? Anyone else who wants to jump in? Do you feel like the question is for those who just jumped on to join us. The question we asked just now is, do you feel that you're inside of your body, or do you feel like your body is inside of you? You could unmute and put your answer, or put your answer in the chat. Anyone else? Scholar said she feels she's inside. Rosemary and Augustine feel it's a mixture of both. Robert feels his body's in him. Anyone else? Go ahead, Milka.
Good morning, everyone. Milka here from Allentown, Pennsylvania. I feel like the body is inside me, because it's like we are like spiritually created. This is just a shell that we are living in. So it's like the body, I feel the body is inside of me.
Thank you for how you feel about that, Milka. Appreciate your answer. Anyone else wants to jump in?
Hello, everyone. There's a famous saying that says that Christ lives in us. So if Christ lives in me, then there's no way I live inside my body. That it's the body that I live outside my body. Let me frame it like that. So it's Christ in me and not me in me. For me, I am outside the body.
All right. So the trick there, I guess, for us is to see the inside and the outside as separate. Because what happens is that when we see the inside and the outside as separate areas, we're still misperceiving the reality of things. The truth is that everything is whole, everything is complete. The universe is one. There's no separation from us and our creator. It's just an illusion of separation. So what happens is that whenever we feel a sense of inside or outside,
You're muted. Unmute yourself.
oh, sorry, I muted myself a while ago. I was trying to mute everybody, I muted me too. Thank you, Augustine. Yeah, so here's the thing, right? Our body is inside of us, but we are also inside of it. It's one and the same. But whenever we think that there's an inside and there's an outside, it's how we are perceiving things. Because there's really no inside and outside, they're just whole. And we have parts in the whole. So the body is a part in the whole, not a separate part from everything else. And our body is that instrument which we use to communicate. If we were to look at ourselves this way, we're all spiritual beings. So on the spiritual side, we're all connected, we're all one. And they were using these bodies in the earth to connect with one another and communicate with one another in this dimension. And that's how that's a description of it, one way of describing it. So understanding this, but what's the purpose of it? What's the usefulness of it? Because at the end of the day, if we're having a theoretical discussion and it doesn't have any practical use, I don't think it moves us ahead. I think we need to have some practical things to it so that we can use these teachings in a way that helps us to have more peace, more joy, more strength, more clarity, be able to achieve our goals and our dreams in a much more efficient, graceful way. I think that's what my goal is, at least, to be able to accelerate things happening in my life in such a way that I can actually see the things that I want to have come to pass quicker than having a delay in certain areas. So sometimes things have to be delayed. You can't do anything about it, but a lot of times you can actually be in your own way and blocking yourself from achieving certain things. So this whole idea of enlightenment, there's a definition for it that came from a gentleman called the Buddha, and he said enlightenment is end of suffering. So end of all, not just suffering, but end of all suffering. So once all suffering ends, the idea of being self-aware happens according to his definition. But he also did not point to what it is. So we need to look at these 5 W's, right, today to have an understanding. Now let's look at the first W, what? We're going to look at these 5 W's in reference to each of us as individuals. And let's start with what. What do you believe you are? Not who do you believe you are, right? We're going to get into that, but what do you believe you are? Anybody wants to jump in and give an answer? What do you believe you are? Right? What do you believe you are? Anybody? All right. All right. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I believe I am. To be honest, I believe I am life. And I don't know any other way to explain it, but that's what I believe I am. I am life. The pure essence of being. That's what I believe I am. That's what I
Thank
know.
You, Augustine.
Believing sometimes means, that's what I know I am. I am life.
All right, thank you. So you know that you're alive. That's knowing is really important in this day and age. We need to move up. We need to move beyond believing. Believing is very limiting, ladies and gentlemen. Believing is just your opinion, your point of view, what you feel. We need to get to the place where you know something, not what you believe in or believe what others have said or believe what you may have read, but what do you know? But anyway, let's talk about it from the level of belief or even knowing. So what are you? Anyone else wants to jump in and say, what are you? I'll tell you, what I am, from a what standpoint, what Harry is literally a life. It is the creator. It is the universe. It is all that is quantum field of reality. There are many different ways that we could describe that. That's the what. I am spirit. There's so many words that we could try to use to define what, but at the end of the day, those are just words. So what I am, or the foundation of what I'm created from, is an invisible essence that is in the plant, is in the trees, is in the same light that is the sun, is the moon, is the planet. Everything that we're seeing expressed as a form comes from what is invisible. So what I am is that invisible essence that's not visible to the senses. The 5 senses cannot detect what I am. The 5 senses, in a sense, picks up on the evidence of what it is that I'm seeking to do and what it is that's happening through the one life that is inherent in each and every one of us. So that is what I am. Let's talk now about who we are, right? Who we are. Anybody wants to jump in and give a definition of who are you? So what you are, that's my perspective. Augustine shared his perspective. We haven't heard another perspective yet, but who are you? Go ahead and give us some idea of who you are. Unmute, anybody, just jump in and let's start chopping it up a bit. And then we take this to how we're going to use it practically so that we can improve upon the quality of what we're doing in life. Who are we? Let me hear.
I am a born again child of God.
All right, so I am a born again. Let's look at that, right? So the born again means something that you went through. So I am born again means something that you went through, right? So you went through a process. And then the child of God is another aspect of who you are. And then that is obviously a child of God, you know, an expression of God. So beautiful. So a wonderful. I like that, right? I'm a child of God. Thank you, Milka. I'm a child of God. So who you are. Go ahead. Anyone else? No right or wrong answer. You know, everybody has their own perspective.
I am
would
a
say,
child of God.
Scholar, I'm a child of God. So that's who you are. Anyone else?
I would say I am.
I am.
Go ahead, Abigail.
Go ahead. I was saying I am God's own image.
All right, that's who you are. Thank you for that, Abigail. Augustine?
But I am a physical manifestation right now of the essence of life, expressing myself as a flesh, blood, and bone being right now.
All right, thank you for that. Who else? Rosemary, you're unmuted. You want to jump in?
Okay, I am a God. I'm a creator. So I create things that I want. I create anything I want. So I'm a creator. I'm a God.
All right, thank you for that, Rosemary. Thank you for jumping in. Anyone else wants to say? So we heard the what. Now we're hearing more who's. A lot of us are more comfortable with who than we are with what, and that's fine. Because now we're starting to discover both dimensions. So who, anyone else wants to say, who are you? No right or wrong answer, right? Yeah, who I am. That's the second double. There are 5 doubles. Thank you, Leon, for being our note taker. But who I am. Go ahead. Anyone else wants to jump in and tell us, who are you? All right. Okay, so I guess we had it, those who wanted to comment. And put it in the chat if you don't want to speak in public, right? The next W is we're going to look at where are you? All right, so I want us to unmute and tell us where are you? Okay, okay, go ahead, Ope. Go ahead, Ope. I want to hear you. Go ahead and unmute. Ope.
Hi, Harry. Hi, everyone.
You want to tell everyone quickly in
I
where
just
you are?
logged in.
Yeah.
Excellent. I logged in not quite long ago, and I think I picked up the question of who am I? Is that the question?
Yes.
Okay, so I'd like to see I see myself as a spiritual being existing in this plane currently to fulfill certain purpose or purposes, which I discover every day of my life as I go along. And I work hard to fulfill that. So a spiritual being living the earthly existence in flesh and blood and bone to fulfill the deeds and the will that I am led by through the Creator. Thank you.
Hey, thank you very much, man. Thank you very much for that. There are different versions of that. So, you know, and then I guess I didn't throw in there who from my own perspective and opinion as and point of view. And I'm like a sun ray from the heart of God, a beam of God, a light of God, you know, an expression of a creator. And, you know, and that obviously changes and, you know, has all these different dynamics associated with it. And that's the who, all right? From my perspective, you know, a beam, a light being, a spiritual being, you know, expressing itself here on this planet in myriad ways. All right, so the next question I want to ask us is, where are you? Where are you right now? Unmute. Anybody, no one particular person at first, just jump in. Where are you? 5 W's. We already did what? We already did who? No, we're talking about where. Where are you, Robert?
I'm in heavenly places in Christ Jesus.
All right, that's very nondescript, but we'll come back to that. We'll come back to that. All right, go ahead. Anyone else wants to give us? Let's hear, where are you? So Robert says he's in heavenly places. All right, in Christ. Okay, anyone else wants to say?
Despite being a God, as I believe I am, as I know I am, I would say I'm in the incubator, still being molded, and that's where I am presently.
All right, incubator. It's interesting. What do you mean by incubator? What is that? Because incubator for me as a work in a hospital.
My processes are not complete yet. So I'm still being formed. Some parts of me are still being formed to perfection. Some parts of me are still being molded to perfection. They're probably not in the perfect stage yet. So I'm in the incubator being molded to perfection.
All right. Thank you for that. And we'll dive into the idea of molding and perfection, and we'll bring up some of that too. But very good. Thank you for that. Anyone else?
Yes, I would like to say that I'm still in the world, visiting the world. Like the Bible tells me that I'm just a visitor here, yet to go to my Father's house in heaven at the right time when he calls me.
All right, so where you are, Lillian. Okay, so Lillian is somewhere in the world right now and waiting to go somewhere else. Anyone else?
Hello.
Go ahead, Milka.
I would say, because the question is, where are you? Where are you? I would say, I'm here and now. I'm here on this
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ope. Your hand is up again.
No, that was previously, sir. Not now. Okay. Well, if you insist, I answer. Absolutely for you, Harry. So where am I? I am fulfilling his purpose on this planet Earth. That's where I am. Fulfilling his purpose through me, a vessel, on this planet Earth, and preparing for the great war, the great battle when he returns. I shall be one of the chariots. I can assure you that, for sure.
I got you, Ope. All right, who else do we have out there? Tell us, where are you? Where are you?
We're in this world.
All right, Robert. So here's the thing, the word where, right? Where is location? So where is location, right? Where is something, the question, where are you means location. Where are you located? Because it's a question that points to, it helps to identify, where are you? Physically, where are you? Are you in the, where are you? And that question, depending on the stage that we're at, and please keep your lines muted. Whenever you just mute so that we can get the birds and noises and the beautiful things out of the space. All right. So where are you implies of a location. All right. We're talking about a place. And when Robert spoke about heavenly places, trying to understand where heaven is. So let's talk about that one. We'll come back to Rosemary's, and then we'll come back to Ope's, right? So let's talk about where is heaven? Somebody could you tell me, Robert? Because you said you're in heavenly places. So where is that? Where is heaven?
Well, we're not in the physical realm of heaven. We're in the, I would say we're not in the physical place, but we are in the spirit.
Right.
Heavenly places is not the actual physical heaven, but it's the heaven that's within us that we're in, and we're in that place. We're in that place all the time.
All right. So the thing is that it's the idea of heaven. Heaven is like the way I look at heaven is to make it simple. All right. These are like radio stations, okay, frequencies, and the heavenly frequency, which is a radio station. I'm using that as an analogy to help us to break it down to make it simple and easy to digest, right? So that we don't think it's somewhere that we need to go to. Because one of the challenges that we experience as spiritual beings is to believe that we need to go to somewhere. We believe that time is something that we're bound by. We don't realize that we're timeless beings that encapsulate time. So what ends up happening is that we break our lives into past, present, and future, and literally are waiting to go somewhere when we're already there. Now, the thing about heaven as a frequency, if you think about it as a radio station, it's just that you may not be tuned into it. So you're not able to experience the peace and the joy and all of the essential frequencies and vibrations that come from the heavenly realm, because it's there. It's not somewhere else where we need to go to. We're told in writings that the kingdom of heaven is at hand and it's here now. And if it was on the top of the mountains, the birds would get there before you. If it was under the sea, then the fish would get there before you. Don't look for it over there. Don't look for it over here, which means it's not bound by time. The kingdom of heaven is at hand. So as we open up to the idea that it's a frequency, then if it's a frequency, we can tune into it. We can tap into that radio station so that we can feel that frequency, that bliss, that joy, that peace. We can be at peace in a world that's changing, and all these changes happening, that Opie spoke about, and all these challenging experiences that we're going to have. You can feel that peace from within your being, from the spiritual nature that we are, and then still be in the world and be effective and be a part of bringing about the changes necessary to establish the frequency of heaven on earth, so that earth and heaven can become one frequency, and we're not separating them into two and bringing down earth at a low vibration and having heaven at a high vibration. That's my perspective on that in terms of where we are. So we're already in heaven. We're already everywhere. We're here and now. There's no future and there's no past. There's just now that we have broken up into time zones, and we have broken up this one planet into segments, and we're experiencing it that way, and that's the experience of it, but that's not the reality of it. The reality of it is that we're whole, perfect, and complete. And to dive a bit into what Rosemary brought out, of feeling like you're in an incubator and waiting for things to be perfected, a perspective to share with you. Not that your perspective is wrong, because that's how you feel based on where you are. We're all at different phases and stages of our development. But if we buy into the idea that we're perfect already and there's nothing missing, there's nothing that we need to complete ourselves, then what we're doing is that we're revealing our perfection through changes that are happening in our lives. Maybe you're going through a changing relationship, you're going to a changing job, you're learning to manifest wealth, you're manifesting better parenting skills. We're manifesting something that we already have within us as a potential that we're releasing, as opposed to something is wrong, something is missing, and I'm waiting to get to a particular place to be okay. It's to realize that I'm okay now, I'm okay here and now, and nothing is missing. There's nothing that I need here and now. I already have it within me, but it may need to be expressed as abundance. It may need to be expressed as peacefulness within my relationships. It may need to be expressed as a better child, a better parent. That may need to be expressed as a potential within us to be expressed in what it is that we're doing. So thank you very much for all of those where we are. So where we are, hopefully for those who didn't contribute to that, you have put that in context as to where we are. All right, so next one is
Doctor, before we move to the next stage, I don't know, I got confused a little bit, because when Jesus came to this world, he died for us to redeem us or to set us free from where we had gone, diverted from the Garden of Eden, and we our parents, they did that. But Jesus came because we were totally separated from God. But when Jesus came, he came to bring us together, to bring us back to our Father. And when he was leaving, he said, don't be troubled. I will come again. As you see me going, I will come again to take you home. I am going to prepare a place for you. And that place, that is why we say heaven is. He has said it's going to prepare for us a place, and that is what we believe, that he has gone to prepare for us a place. And then in the Bible it says, he has prepared for us mansions, and these mansions are many. Everybody has a room in it. But what I believe is that is the belief that he is coming again. What he said is real, because he said, I'm the way, the truth, and the life. So, and he left for us also say that we live in this earth as if we are there, as you said. That one, I'm with you. And what I know eventually, that he will come. Okay, we are not going to heaven, but he will come with the mansions that he has prepared. And if the mansions will land in this world, it will destroy everything here. And the saints are the ones who are going to live there. So that's where I got confused when you said heaven. Heaven is, there's no heaven, it is here. So as the Bible, as I read it there. So when you said that there's no heaven, so I said, the Bible is lying that there's heaven. And most of the things when we read, we hear heaven, heaven, heaven. So that's where I got confused. And as I am awaiting for that moment, but I have to live in this world as if I am already there. So the confusion came there of heaven.
All right, thank you for that. So maybe in my speaking, it sounded as if I said there's no heaven. But what I said is heaven is here and now. It's not in the future that we're gonna get there. Now here's the thing about us. We can put ourselves in a place where we are suspending becoming aware of the heavenly qualities of peace, of joy, of love, of gifts, of the revelation of the strength that we need to be able to do the things that we're going to do in this earth. So what happens is that we're the ones that pull ourselves down from the frequency because of a narrow way of looking at life, because of looking at life in a time-bound way. So what we end up doing is that we time blind ourselves to the timelessness. Now, you and I we're timeless beings, and the human side of us will not be able to understand that. It's when you become aware that you're a timeless being. It's when you become aware that you're beyond time, and you become aware that you are an eternal being. That's when some of what I'm sharing with you will start to like sink in and start to become clearer. That okay, so there's nothing that I'm not waiting to go, because if you believe you're waiting to go there, you're not there, obviously, because you're here waiting to go somewhere in the future, which means now you're taking yourself away from the now and you're waiting for a future to certain things to change, and then you'll be in one of the dimensions or one of the mansions. Now, another thing to also start to open up to is the idea that when we hear these words mansions and place and go and come back, and we have to start to mature to where you're seeking a deeper meaning to that rather than the literal words. Because what's blocking us in and locking us into not understanding the deeper meaning of these teachings is that we're trying to take the surface words as what it means. So when we talk about, okay, I go and prepare a place for you, I'll come back and meet you. Now, understanding when you become aware of your timeless, eternal nature, you'll understand what he's referring to. But when you're trying to understand it from a human standpoint, and you're trying to understand it from a limited standpoint, you're trying to understand it from past, present, and future, it's going to seem confusing. And here's the beautiful thing about confusion. I love confusion. I love confusion. And here's why. Belief begins first. I believe this. This is what I believe. This is what I believe in. When you feel confused, that belief I had and what's starting to show up in my mind, they are not syncing. There's something missing. And once you start to realize that, okay, I'm not clear, it forces you now to search for certainty. It forces you now to start to look for somewhere where you can have clarity. It forces you to start to examine these verses that you just brought up. It forces you to start to, obviously, that's not sinking, because now there's something in me, in my logical sense of being and logical self, that's not causing me to question this. And this is not making sense. So how is it that it will all make sense together? Because at the end of the day, if it's not making sense, then something is missing. There's some information that we're not yet aware of. So this is an awareness process. So here's how you'll get to a place of certainty. Because certainty is what eliminates that feeling of confusion. Whenever you're certain about something, you're no longer confused. But I cannot lead you there. I cannot hold your hand and take you there. You're going to have to go within your own self, and you're going to have to ask for answers to those very questions that you just brought up. You're going to have to seek what we call the Holy Spirit and say, you know what, shed light on this teaching for me. What is it that was intended in this description? So, because I could share my perspective with you, I could share my point of view with you, but that in itself won't be helpful to you unless you go within and you seek the light of your Creator to shine the light of understanding on this, so that you could understand, okay, now I understand why heaven is here. Now I understand why I'm already in heaven. Now I understand, why I don't have to wait to go somewhere. I can actually feel the peace of heaven, the joy of heaven, the love of heaven. I can feel that now. But you won't be able to feel that and experience that unless you have gone within. You have to go within. There's no two ways about that. So our conversation is to help us to realize areas that we are using to block us from being aware of that spiritual essence of our nature, which is what we're seeking to do, to help get these things out of our way. So the question about where you are has forced us now to start to think, right, really, where am I? Am I really on earth? Am I in heaven? Am I in both places? Where am I? And then where you are is based on how you see yourself. If you see yourself as small, if you see yourself as separate from our Creator, then our Creator is in heaven and you're on earth. If you see yourself as in a body, as opposed to being your body being in you, if you see yourself as the earth being contained within you, if you see yourself as the sun in you, then you're now seeing yourself as the universal presence, as one with the Creator that contains all things, as opposed to seeing yourself as a human being walking around on the planet, waiting to go to a future that you have designed based on the belief system that we may have inherited. And that is what we have done to ourselves. We have fragmented off ourselves and separated off ourselves in this Adam and Eve story of separating ourselves from the Creator in that unity of the Garden of Eden, that unity of oneness with the Creator. We separated off ourselves as a belief, and we believe we're separate. And we're walking around the world as if we're separate. We're living as if we're separate, and we're waiting for the Creator to come back to feel whole again. So we are the ones who have put these pieces into the puzzle and separated off ourselves and created this long journey of being away from our Creator. When all the time when we're on this journey of being separate, we're one with the Creator. We've never been separate from our Creator. From the very first night we thought we're separate, it's just a belief we're separate. But the belief becomes its own law. All beliefs function as a law until they're neutralized. It is done unto you as you believe. So your belief does that in your life experience. And until your belief goes through confusion, that belief that I'm separate, that belief that I'm on earth and I'm waiting to go to heaven, that's starting to not feel like it's correct. So because of the confusion there, it forces you now to say, well, what is true? What is really the correct way of understanding these teachings that I've inherited? Because what we have inherited are somebody's writings. What we've inherited is somebody reading it to us and we interpreted it a certain way. What we inherited is someone's point of view on what was written. What we inherited is a way of trying to understand these things. And then we found ourselves feeling a little lost in trying to figure our way out. So what we're here to do is to help ourselves to get some of that stuff out of our way so that we can eliminate that stuff. That stuff can fall off of us, and then we can reveal the peace, the joy, the strength, the capacity. When you're trying to do your work, you're trying to build your business, you're trying to be more effective, you're trying to go out into the world and add value to have a better world that we can live in and we can enjoy. These are things that, these qualities we need coming from within us to be able to do that effectively. But we will not feel these qualities if we believe that where we are right now is somewhere different from where the qualities are. Because if we believe that, oh, I'm small, I'm little here, and I have to fight my way forward, I have to try and make a way until that great day comes, then you're going to experience a life adrift from the peace, the joy, the love that we essentially want. Or you may even only allow yourself to experience a little bit of it because you're just, maybe when you're in praise and worship, feeling that, you let go of the earthly stuff and you temporarily vibrate up, and then you're at a frequency and you feel really good because you're in that heavenly frequency, and you feel really joyful, really peaceful, really happy. And then you get back into work and you get back into that narrow sense of self, and you're out there now fighting it out. And the feeling of joy, the feeling of peace now has gone, and it feels like it has left you, but it hasn't left you, you left it by coming down at a lower frequency. So what we have to, in a sense, become aware of is that high frequency, so that we're aware of it all the time. We're aware of the peace all the time. We're aware of the joy all the time. And then while we're not working, while we're not doing the calls, while we're not building our business, while we're talking to a customer, while we're dealing with our children, while we're interacting with one another, the feeling of peace and joy is a frequency that we're still carrying with us. And it's not something that you just touch in a moment or in a sliver of going into a meditative moment where you feel all of it. So I hope that dialogue that I'm having with you and with everybody here, will help us to, okay, so where we are is that we are truly in heaven now, not waiting to go there in the future, as the literal interpretation of that scripture says, because it says it literal. If you read it, that's what it says on the surface of it. But then what we need to search for is the spirit of the meaning of it, and not the literal words like the man who kicked the bucket that we spoke about. So we have to go deeper in the word and not just grab the top of it and just read from what it says and not seek to have a deeper understanding. But you're going to have to go within yourself and seek inner guidance on that. Seek for the light of your own understanding to be shone on it, and the Holy Spirit will show you deeper meanings and clarity around it. All right. Hopefully that helped, Abigail.
Can I say something, Dr. Harry?
Yeah, Robert. Go ahead. You muted yourself, Robert.
Oh, excuse me.
Okay, that's all right. Yeah, your line is muted again. Okay, I'm not sure what's happening, Robert, but you're muting, unmute, mute, unmute.
No,
Your line is muted.
Benjamin.
I don't know.
Yeah, go ahead,
I don't
Augustine.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now. Go ahead, Robert.
Okay, I was saying that you're absolutely correct on everything that you say, and everything that you say is always, you can find it in scripture, it's always there. And the kingdom of heaven, see, when people look at the kingdom, what do they think about? They think about the streets of gold, the gates of pearls, and mansions and nice buildings and things like that. That's what they see, and that way, it's a future thing. Okay, but we're talking about the now. Where are you right now? Well, like I said, I'm in heavenly places in Christ Jesus. And because when you look at the kingdom of heaven, all that's in the kingdom of heaven, there's only three things in the kingdom that makes up the kingdom, not the buildings, not the gold, not the silver, not the jewels, not all of that. There's only three things that make it the kingdom of heaven. And that is three things: righteousness, joy, and peace in the Holy Ghost. That's all heaven is. It's a place where there's nothing there but righteous people. There's nothing there but people that's full of joy. There's nothing there with people that are just full of peace. It's all righteousness there. There's no commotions and crimes and nothing like that. That's what the kingdom of heaven is. And when Jesus said the kingdom of heaven is at hand, what he's saying is that the kingdom of heaven, when he said the kingdom of heaven is at hand, he means the kingdom from the heavens is at hand. So, and we can have that kingdom now. We can have that and possess that kingdom now, because don't say that the kingdom of heaven is over here and over there. He said, lo, the kingdom of heaven is within us. So in other words, we can live now as though we're living in the kingdom, because we can experience all of those things. We can live in righteousness. We can live in peace. We can live in joy in the Holy Ghost. And that's what Jesus brought to us. When he brought us the kingdom, we can have it right now. And that is exactly what we experience. We don't have to wait on it. Everything, I mean, I told you, you do that every time.
So here's the thing about
bring the word out of us.
Yeah, so what we have to do is that just treat it, look at it, try to look at it this way. Earth is here where we are. The heaven is here, but your spirit includes earth and heaven together inside of your spirit. Inside of your spirit now. Both of them are there inside of your spirit. Now, if your awareness is down here, all you're aware of is the body and being on the planet, but that's all you're aware of, it doesn't mean heaven has gone anywhere. It's just that in your spirit, you've narrowed your spirit down to the earthly plane only. So you're what we could say is that you're three-dimensionally challenged. Where most of us live in only 3 dimensions. Now, there are many mansions in my Father's house. Another way to say that is that there are many dimensions in my Father's house. So there are different levels of dimensions that are there, and the places are already prepared for us. But you're going to have to do your work from an inner standpoint to come to an awareness of what is already there. And that's where we have to do our meditation, our affirmative prayer, our spiritual study, or high-minded conversations as we're doing today. You know, we have to do that work to be able to clear up these areas so that we can reveal all of that which is already here for us. Because we're really in heaven already. It's just a misunderstanding to believe that we're separate from it, which happened thousands upon thousands of years ago, and we've had a long experience of being separate. So we're seeking to clean up that idea of separation so that we can become aware of our unity and our oneness. Once we become aware of it, but it's not, okay, I'm saying it, and then you're aware. It generally doesn't work that way. As you heard Augustine talk about at the beginning, it's a journey. You know, you feel united with the presence, you feel one, and then there are days when, man, you just gone down back into some previous version of narrow ways of seeing and arguments, and you wonder, how is it that you found yourself here? But here's the beautiful thing, though, is that when you realize that you've kind of lost your way, it's easier to find your way back because you've already found your way there. So it's easier to get back to a higher level. So you don't stay down as long as you used to. You're not lost in the confusion of the world as much anymore, because you're realizing now that no, this is not where I belong. You know, let me stay in my peace, let me stay in my joy. And what we're going to start to do more and more is bring the peace and the joy into the earthly experience. So we're bringing heaven into the earthly experience. We're in heaven, but we're of heaven. Let me say it that way. We're of love, we're of peace, we're of joy, but we're in the world. So we're in the world, but we're told to be in the world, but not of the world. We're told to be in the world, but not of the world. So what we're not supposed to do is take on the frequencies of the world. Don't take on the identities of the world. Don't call yourself, I'm a doctor, lawyer, engineer. I'm so grateful that none of you on here labeled yourself as I'm a doctor, I'm a lawyer, I'm an engineer, I'm a marketer, I'm a businessman, I'm a businesswoman. You know, we're labeling ourselves as the Creator's instruments. And then we're seeking by means of us now to have those qualities of the Creator flow through us into our communication and dealing with one another. So we're bringing heaven to earth as opposed to leaving earth, going to heaven in the future and suspending of having the peace, the joy, being righteous, being an individual that can bring the good qualities to live on the earth as it is now. Because this is about being practical. This is not suspending, you know, into the future living. This is about bringing peace, bringing joy, bringing love, bringing strength, bringing power into the human experience now, so that we can improve upon the human experience, so that we can have a better quality relationship with our children, you know, so that we can be more loving, more kind, more compassionate, more forgiving. You know, these are essences that will flow in and through us, provided that we open ourselves up to talking about where are you? What a powerful question, right? Where are you? And that one question has brought us up and brought out so much depth, because who you are determines how you see where you are. Okay, because that's how you really say, okay, I'm on earth, I'm on heaven, or I'm in both places. Everything is contained within me. All right, so we'll have 2 more doubles to go, but we have a time. We'll flesh out these other 2 doubles another time. But the other 2 doubles, I want you to go and think about them. You know, think about them is when, right? When are you? Okay, when are you, and why are you? Let's really give you a full week to think through when are you, right? And why are you, all right? As we gather together again to have a conversation, and then come with your answers. When are you? So we spoke about what are you, who are you, where are you? We need to talk about when are you, and we need to talk about why are you? Why are you here? When are you right now? When is it that you are? When? What time is it? Because we spoke about location in terms of physical location, and then we just spoke about, and we're going to speak about time. Where are you right now? And also, when is it? When is it for you? And then we need to talk about why you're on the planet. So, man, this was really great. And any other comments? Any other questions? Abigail, thank you for your willingness to share your confusion, your feeling that things are not right. That's beautiful, because that's really how we mature. We cannot hide we cannot hide our beliefs. What we do is that we try to keep our beliefs private. You know, don't want everybody to know, don't want to talk about these things. You don't want to. And what we do is try to protect the belief, because we don't want the belief to be challenged. We do not want the belief to come to the surface, so that we can. You're welcome, Jane. Right? We do not want to bring the beliefs to the surface, because we're trying to hide them, you know, and that's how we protect our belief, because the belief in the beginning gives us a feeling of comfort. This is what I believe, and it gives us something to stand upon. But our beliefs inherently are lies, every single one of them, because at the end of the day, they're just an opinion. Belief is not the truth. Belief is just our point of view. It's just your perspective and your opinion. That's what a belief is. Go ahead, Milka. You have to unmute though.
Sorry. Thank you so much, Dr. Benjamin, for such enlightenment. Like, we really learn day by day here on this platform. And I just want to take you back a little bit. I don't know whether somebody was with me, but I think I missed something on what. So basically, if you could just give me briefly what am I?
Yeah, so what is the beginning, right? So if we talk about, you know, trying to find the deepest aspect of ourself, because ourself, the teachings that we have inherited is that I'm one with the Creator. Each and every one of us, we're one with the Creator. So understanding what the Creator is helping us to understand what we are, because we are an extension of the Creator, or who is the individual expression of the creator. So the what we are is one with everything that contains the entire universe. Because the creator, the earth is the Lord's, the suns, the moons, the stars, everything is contained within our creator. And our creator is in everything that exists. Everything that's visible comes from that which is invisible. So the Spirit of God, which is the invisible presence of God, is what we are. Now, trying to put that in words is always going to be meaningless, because trying to describe God doesn't mean anything, because words cannot describe that which is beyond description. We cannot put infinity into words that will be meaningful. So what we are is a process of revelation, to understand that the foundation of what we are is one with the presence of God as our life. But each of us will have to have a realization of it. Realization meaning that you're going to have your own inner revelation, where you start to see your expansive nature. You're going to start to realize that the question I asked, are you in your body, or is your body in you? When you start to realize that, okay, so my body is just a tool that I'm using here, and my spirit encapsulates the body, but my spirit also encapsulates the planet. My spirit also encapsulates the sun, the moon, the stars. It's a process of expansion of how we see ourselves and what we see ourselves as. So that's maybe how I could help to take us back to the question of what we are. So it's a deep,
Yes. Okay.
going deep. Yeah. Thank you, Milka. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Thank you,
And
Dr.
thank you so much,
Harry.
Dr. Benjamin, for this platform. I've really learned a lot, and I'm really, really excited about this platform. And I pray that we continue to grow and grow and grow and learn more and more. Thank
Amen.
you so
will.
much.
We
Yeah.
will.
Thank
We will. I have a friend of mine. In fact, I helped her to become aware of her enlightened nature. She's going to be coming on here. You'll hear from her. Monica Nilka is her name. She's really become very busy. She's gotten into life coaching, and so as more people are going to come and join us. And as I said before, I started this, and Augustine and I have been just Augustine and I alone on Instagram, right? For a good period of time, and just really keeping a space for us to emerge. So I do understand my role in teaching, and I know this is going to become a large group of us, because this conversation is necessary for us to eliminate the obstacles and the hindrances and the blockades that are in our way. So, some are going to come and be here once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. Some are going to come and be here for a very long period of time. I believe that we're going to be connecting for years, because we need this, right? And let me share with you why we need this. We need this because whenever you dip down, we need someone to remember, right? Remember, so that we can climb back up. Sometimes we need, just like how Abigail brought something up, there's so many of us that got a benefit out of what she shared, right? Because she brought up something that has held us back a lot, and not being able to look deeper. And, so all those experiences that we're going to have through what's called high-minded conversations, will help us. And then also in helping us to understand, be mindful of who you pull around you to fellowship, because some people pull you back, right, to the past, the old ways of being, trying to get back to the way things were, trying to hold on to what we used to believe back in the 60s, back in the 40s, back in the 1800s. Some people want to go back as opposed to go forward in releasing ourselves from the mistakes that we inherited from our ancestors, and releasing ourselves from them so that we can truly bring love, bring peace, bring righteousness to bear in our human experience. And that's what we're doing. We're literally being a part of bringing the heaven to earth, because it's not bringing it, because it's here. But what we're doing is that we're helping people to become aware that it's always been here. It's not somewhere to wait to go to. It is here. And what we're going to have to do is do our inner work to become aware of it. And the more people realize that, okay, so some of these, that's what the deeper teachings are trying to point us to, but we just took the literal meaning off the surface, and we try to accept it as words written, as opposed to what's the spirit of the meaning of this. what's really being taught to us. I come with a sword. Jesus is not trying to tell us to go use no sword to kill nobody. But in 1200, do you know that, guys, that between 1200 and 1400, a group of Christians took that meaning and went out and slaughtered Muslims? There was blood up to people's knees just because people interpreted his statement to mean that he meant that we should go and kill people. People did it because of misunderstanding meaning of what he's trying to say. The sword is to disconnect these false beliefs that we have about life and about how things are and cut those off of us so that we can liberate ourselves and be free. And people misunderstood his teaching to mean that and took it to go do nonsense and craziness. So, that's just how it is, right? So as we realize that, okay, so let's just remain open and receptive to the Holy Spirit. Once you remember that all teaching comes from the Holy Spirit. And where's the Holy Spirit? If you want to find out where, if you want to use the word where, within us. So it comes down to us going within and allowing our own inner guide, not Harry or anybody here to be your teacher. We can only give you information, but you're going to have to discover and uncover the truth for yourself. And we're helping one another to minimize some of the mistakes that we would make in the process of uncovering and discovering what is true, so that we can really be free. All right. Okay. Thank you, Milka. Thank you, Abigail. Anybody else before we shut it off? All the time. That we a lot for this, and I have to go and get ready for a physical event here in Atlanta. I have to go and travel to that here shortly. So I have a business event coming up this afternoon. Scholar, you want to say something?
Just a few words. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Just wanted to say a few words about heaven and earth and what we have, where we are, and where we are going. Jesus, yes, Sister Abigail said, Jesus came, we said, is going to prepare a place for us and is coming to take us home to the mansion. Well, I think the body and the spirit and whatever we have on this earth, we're not taking it wherever we are going to the next world. And if we are, then we have heaven here. We have heaven here, and heaven is here, and we should work, to make the heavens work for us here, because this is where we are. The gold, the milk, the whatever Jesus promised, it's here. Let's work towards what, hey, they say God created us to be heads and not tails. We have the heads here. Let's work and let's make the gold here, because here is where we are right now. Let's work for now, because this is where we are. And for that, I say thank you, Dr. Benjamin, for this program. It's really helping us, because we have been thinking about waiting to go to heaven to see honey and milk. And honey and milk, and the milk is right here with us. Mm-hmm. So let's not wait for heaven. Let's do it here, because God put it here and he gave us dominion for everything. We can make the gold and the milk and the honey right here, because this is where we are. I thank you so much. God bless you, and I bless you, and your life is magnificent.
Thank you so much, man. So we're going to wrap this up right now. We have had a really powerful discussion. Augustine, my brother, thank you very much. I know you're trying to be on here every week, and really appreciate you investing the time with us. And, also, each and every one that comes here every week. Some of us are on here building a business. Some of us are part of building a business community. And, that also is a very important part of what we do. I believe that we should all be effective in different areas, business, in family, in our community. We need to bring the qualities of our Creator to bear in all of these areas. So the idea of bringing us into an awareness of our love and our peace and our joy and our strength, our gifts and our talents and our capacities, is so that all areas of our lives can improve. Not just our business, but our personal, physical self. Our body can be healthy and stronger to deliver on its purpose and the mission that we're here to fulfill. Also being able to be effective in our family life and our community and the businesses that we're involved in, so that we have the strength to be able to go and do all of these things. So, man, it's been a really great discussion. Thank you very much for everyone who contributed. Thank you very much for being here. Really appreciate you. And as we normally do, we need to unmute and bless ourselves. And a couple of new people are on here. We need to unmute and bless somebody. At least 5 names. Find at least five names.
Thank you for making it clear for me. I bless you, Dr. Harry, and your life is magnificent. I bless you, America. Your life is magnificent. I bless you,
Teacher Paula, your life is
bless you,
magnificent.
my life is
Magnificent.
bless you, Rosemary. Your life is
Even Zachariah.
bless you, Jane. Your life is
bless you.
bless you, Robert.
Grace,
Your life
Maggie, I bless
is
you.
bless
I
you,
bless
I bless
All
you.
right.
I bless
Your
you,
life is
Mark, I
magnificent.
bless you,
I
Robert,
bless
I
you,
bless you,
Your
Ryan,
life is magnificent.
Jane, I bless you,
Lillian. Your life is
Susan, I bless you.
magnificent.
I bless you,
Your
Zachariah. Lives are
life. I bless you,
Bless you,
Agostino.
Melka.
Your life
Your life
is
is magnificent.
magnificent.
Amen to that.
Amen. Amen.
I love it.
Amen.
and
Amen.
amen.
Yeah. It's
Powerful,
pretty clear that
powerful
you guys
group.
got a lot of insights, man. A lot of insights. Right? A lot of insights.
Okay.
Great.
Thank you, Dr.
More and more
Harry.
clarity.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Agostine.
See you again next
You
week.
are a brother.
Thank you, Agostino.
Thank you, Dr.
Yes,
Harry.
okay.
Thank you, Dr. Harry.
Thank you,
All right, love
everyone.
you all. All right, then,
Thank
bye-bye.
you. We
We
love you
too,
more.
brother. I love you all. We love
We
you
love
back.
you all. I love you all. I love you all.
We love you, Mark.
Awesome.
All right,
Awesome.
Mark.
I love you back.
Your love is
Mark
strong.
was so quiet today. Mark was so quiet. I didn't know he was here.